Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Miel Hebraica, Hebrew Honey, and I'm looking at Ruth 1, verses 7 through 9, just a very short portion of the travels of Ruth and her two daughters-in-law from Moab back to Judah. And I like to position this one at Jericho, even though the text doesn't say at all really where this particular conversation took place, but it's on the road, and it's from point A to point B. So they're heading, if you're going to go from Moab back to Judah, Jericho would be approximately the halfway point. You have to remember that in ancient times, if you're going to go on a walk, go on a trip, you're going to have to find places where you can find water. So of course, once you get into the bottom of the Dead Sea Valley, it gets very hot, and you'll want to have water sources as you're traveling, walking along. You're carrying your water canteens or your water flasks, sometimes made out of leather, and you're going to have to fill them along the way. So just a practical thing. That's why I like to regard this conversation that follows in this particular portion as occurring at Jericho. Also, the connection there is that of the five women in the genealogy of Matthew, Rahab is one of them. Of course, she was from Jericho. So it's a little, in a sense, it's sort of revisiting a place that took place a couple of generations before. And so Ruth has that connection then with Rahab. So it's an interesting connection. Let's go on to the study here. So she set out from the place where she was with her two daughters-in-law. Up till now, when the book of Ruth has been talking about Moab, it's been talking about Shteh Moab, the fields of Moab. And this is actually now the first time it says Makom. Makom is the Hebrew word here for place. And this means that she actually had somewhat established a spot, some kind of house or some kind of, probably a field house, something out, but a place. She already had a place that she could call home. Okay, but now she just set up from that place. Makom. Makom means something that's been stood up or standing up. Makom. Kom is to rise up, and this is a makom. This is a place. Where she was, Hayatah, with her two daughters-in-law. Kala, daughter-in-law in Hebrew is kala, somebody who has to complete or complete a family, make a family whole. And it's the same word also used for bride. So bride and daughter-in-law, same sort of thing, or same word actually, but used in slightly different contexts, of course. And so the name or the title here indicates what's expected of these two women, Orpha and Ruth. They're expected to be part of a family. They're expected to have their own husband. They're expected to have children and so forth. So it's an expectation that the word itself has an expectation. Okay? So making a family complete. So her two daughters-in-law, and they went on the way, derech, to return, lashuv. Derech is road, just very simple. If you're walking from point A to point B, just simply means the road. Although if you're going to be in the book of Proverbs, whenever you say derech, it means how you're going to do things. So there's slightly nuance behind the words. It isn't simply just walking along a pathway. It's also how you're going to do things. So on the way to return, shuv is to return, and when you're seeing in context, it is moving from point A to point B, moving from Moab back to Judah. It's a return for Naomi. It's obviously a first-time trip for the two girls, so they're coming into something new. But Naomi is returning to her place in Judah. So the word shuv also has a secondary meaning, and sometimes you're going to see it in translation, to repent. But here it's just simply walking from Moab to Judah. But Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, and now it's interesting in that the word to, stay, it's emphasized, it's repeated. So whenever in Hebrew you see something repeated, here it's to, and here it's to, kerotecha. This means that she's dealing with Orpha and she's dealing with Ruth. And we find out soon enough in the story that there is a difference between those two gals. Orpha still has her sights behind her in Moab, and Ruth is looking forward to being with Naomi, being with Naomi's God, with Naomi's people, Naomi's laws, and so forth in Judah, in Bethlehem. So very much a difference in these two. So here, but the word to is placed here, two here. One's going to go one way, one's going to go the other way. So go. Okay, here's hortatory. Return, shuv. Okay, each to her mother's house. She knows that really they can't go back to this makom. There's nothing there, but each one has come from some household, and now Naomi is saying, go back to your mother. Okay, interesting. Mother is the place where the person who would take you in, hug you, love you, and so forth. Didn't say to the father's house. Father's house would have been, submit again to his authority. In other words, he owns you. No, he said mother. Go back to a place where you can find a cozy spot and have your own mother embrace you and hold on to you. So it's kind of the story itself has a lot of personal pathos, a lot of personal feeling to it. So it is here too, mother's house. House beit is not just house, it is household as well. So the word in Hebrew, the word beit means house and household altogether. So may Jehovah deal kindly, okay? May God or Jehovah give you chesed. Chesed is mercy, loving kindness, okay? And asa, this is to do it, okay? Incidentally, there's a katif kareya on this deal, or to do something, and it simply removes the hey at the end of this particular verb. We're going to get in. If you stick with me into the Hebrew section, you'll be able to see it there. What the Mashra is doing is simply cutting the word down to more hortatory value with a less of a feminine structure to that particular verb. So may God asa, okay, chesed, may God deal kindly, may God do kindness to you, imachem. This one, incidentally, in Hebrew is in the masculine, although I'll explain it in the Hebrew side. This particular word works for both masculine and feminine, so it just works. So it's not going to make a big deal out of that one, okay? Imachem, as you have dealt with the dead, matim and imadi, and with me. And so you're dealing with the dead, and you have dealt with me. You've been kind to the dead. This is in reference back to Malon and Kilion, and this is in reference to the one that's still living, in other words, Naomi. Now Jehovah, okay, yaten, this is a hortatory to give. Yaten, it's a brief little word, but it's got a lot of impact. May the Lord, may Jehovah give that you may find menuach, okay, menuha is rest, okay. It's what's known as a Noah word. In other words, restful word. Doesn't mean just sitting down and being lazy all the time. It means being in a place where everything fits, everything is in place, everything's working fine, everybody has their role and everybody's fulfilling their role, and that's what this menuha means. And in one of the other studies, which I've gone into much more detail over the root of this word, it is manoach, and finding rest. So the best place really to find rest for anyone is with Jehovah. But here Naomi is telling them, find rest, ish, beit, in the house of her husband. In other words, she's telling them, go back, get married again. Okay, they don't have their new husbands as yet, but that's what Naomi is telling these two gals. Go back and submit yourself to the authority of a new husband. This is, basically Naomi is just trying to get out of what, instead of inviting them along to serve Jehovah, she's saying, go back, we've had it, we're all done, get lost, basically. But then she kissed them, okay? A kiss has a lot of symbolism. In the Middle East, you kiss and on the shoulder or on the side of the face or something, but it's got a lot of symbolism of, okay, and incidentally, in this particular reading here, each time you see the word kiss, it's in order to goodbye, out of here, goodbye. It isn't a kiss of greetings. It's a kiss of saying goodbye. Okay, so that's how this is used each time. Shak, and I remember it in Hebrew because you see the sheen of the teeth when they kiss. So okay, but this is a kiss of goodbye. And then they lifted up their voices. Okay, the leshana, very same word as was used at the first part of the book when the two boys are lifting up the two girls, but here they're lifting up their voices. Okay, and then they wept. Beka. Okay, beka is to weep. Here's some of the key words that are used in the portion that we just looked at. Kindness, may the Lord deal kindly. Asa, chesed, and this is it. Chesed, it's a chet, samek, dalet, a double segol here, segol, and Miel accenting. So towards the front of the accenting towards the front, towards the top of the word. Chesed, that's kindness, loving kindness, mercy, and this is something that comes from the Lord. So this is what Naomi is asking then, okay, may the Lord give this kindness to you, chesed. Menucha, and this is rest. It isn't just simply sleeping all the time. It is in a situation where everything is working together. You have a family, the family's working, there's kindness among the people, and you find yourself in a good place. It's kind of saying like a good place, okay? Menuha. I said this is a Noah word, and the reason it's a Noah word is you got a nun right here, you got a chet right there. Those are the two root consonants that form the name Noah, okay? Noah means to the person of rest, okay? The man of rest. And here's, you put a mem on the front, makes it a noun, and then Noah of rest, okay? It's state of rest. In other words, the hey at the end is like the same thing you would do with Adam, Adama, that kind of thing. It's a state of rest. Isha, okay? Isha is woman, and this is the feminine of Ish. Now, Ish is man. You got Aleph Yod Shin, Aleph Yod Shin. Aleph Shin with a hey on the end is woman. Okay? Now, each woman, Isha, you're going to pronounce it the same thing. Here, this is a doubling up of the hey because of the dagish here, but it's basically pronounced the same thing, same way. Isha. Now, but they are very different words. It isn't just because of the extra yod. There's also an indication of what this hey is doing. In this one, this hey, this last letter here, is providing the feminine gender of this particular word. And here, this is still a masculine word, ish, and then you got the hey with a mapik, and the mapik then it helps us remember or helps us see that this is a suffix pronoun in feminine, a husband of her. So it's a possessive pronoun at the end of this particular sequence here, isha, okay, of her husband. So the mapik tells us the pronoun. It tells us it has to be pronounced hey. And then here it's just simply the feminine form of this particular word. So they're very similar, sound the same, have some similarities, but they do have very much different functions as to how they're going to work. This is each woman, and this is with each of her husband, each woman with her husband. Okay, so or man, yeah. Isha, the hey is then the pronoun, and then this is the husband, and ish. So we get to the reading here. Tashe min hamakom asher hayata shama ve'shte kelotecha ima ve'telechna baderech lashuv el aretz Yehuda. Okay? And then she left. That's a feminine prefix on this particular verb, tesher, and she left. Min hamakom. It's a singular, by the way. So at this point, the author is simply focusing on what Naomi is doing. That isn't mentioning. Well, he is mentioning pretty soon the two shtei kelotecha, but Naomi's taking the initiative. She's the one that's standing up. Let's get going. Okay. Tesher min hamakom, place. Okay, makom. Kom here is to rise up, a place that she has set herself up. Okay, makom, hamakom. Asher hayata was there. Shama. Sham is there, and this particular sham has a directional hey on it, and often the directional hey is towards that place. And in this particular context here, Shama would be from that place. In other words, it's a directional hey, but it's coming backwards. Okay, so Shama, where she was there, but from there. Okay, Shama. Ushte, and the two, kelotecha, and that is daughters-in-law. Kelotecha, kala. This is a construct ending on this particular noun. And I think the root, if you look it up in the Blue Letter Bible, it's going to be Kaf Lamed Hey, but it's Kalatecha, her two daughters-in-law. And as I said, they're the ones that are supposed to complete the family. Kol, Kal. Okay? Kal is something that's all. Okay? Kalotecha. Ima, with her. Im is along with, okay, and then with her. Ve telekna. And this then is telech, is to walk. The root here is, if you look up in the dictionary, it's going to be hey, lamed kaf. Okay? But the hey has suffered a pheresis, and you get a tau in its place. Feminine, telaka na, they walked. Okay, bader, in the road. The derech, even though it was glutenated, has kept its Miel accenting. Often when it is glutenated, it can lose its Miel accenting, but it kept it here. Baderech, okay, the accenting is up here. Baderech, lashuv, to return. El eretz, to the land Yehuda, okay, to the land of Judah. Yehuda, eretz Yehuda. This is segolate here. See, segolate. Two segos, and the accenting up here is on Miel, same accenting over here. That one's on the top, this one's on the bottom, but the accenting is what they call upwards. Okay, upwards. Miel. Tomer Naomi lishte kelotecha lechna shovna isha lebeit ima yaas Yehovah imachem chesed keasher asitem im hamatim ve'im madi. And we have here, and then she said, it's a feminine prefix, third person prefix on this particular verb, and she said, Tomer also kept Miel accenting here. Naomi, the sweet one, the friendly one, oh yeah, sweet person, lishte, to her two kelotecha, her two daughter-in-laws. I said before, same word is used for bride, but kelotecha. Lechna shovna, okay, go take a walk, return, please. Okay, and this is imperative, hortatory, and so the na here, in a sense, it's feminine endings of these two particular verbs, but it's also has very much a hortatory sense to it, an imperative sense to it. Okay, hortatory, imperative, basically the same thing. Okay, lechna shovna isha. Okay, so lechna shovna isha, each woman, isha. Lebeit, to the household, like I said before. Ima, okay, mother of her. So you have isha, so there's feminine ending here, and this one is a pronoun ending, but it's also feminine, but it's mother of her. Like I said, mother's the one that's going to wrap you in her arms and welcome you back and be kind to you. So ima, asa, to do. Now, if you're looking very carefully here at this particular sequence, it's an interesting setup here. You got asa, okay? So this is just a scene. There's no vowel pointing on this second one, okay? And the reason is the kare wants you, this is the kare, it's a substitute reading of the mashra, wants you to read this with just the first asa, with just the first two syllables. Forget the last syllable, okay? They don't really want this last one. They don't want ya asa. They want ya as, okay? Ya as. That's what they want to hear. And the reason is they want you to just drop this last hey. Now, there's a reason why the hey is here. It's pretty clearly, because when you look up in the, you can look it up in the Blue Letter Bible, you'll find it. Sa, you find ayin, sin, hey. That's the root. There it is, complete root. Prefix on it to make the third person singular. Prefix, masculine prefixing. But it's complete root. The mashra didn't like to have the hey here, and we have to kind of run backwards a little bit to find out why they didn't like the hey there, because you got ima with the mother of her, you got kilotecha, the daughters-in-law of her, to return, please her, and so forth. So isha, woman, okay. There's just a whole lot of feminine endings on these words right here. And if you just left it this way, this one, you might have it in your head, oh my, here, asha, it would be, looks like. It isn't. It looks like a feminine verb. And of course, the mashra would never, never, ever tie feminine verb on with Jehovah. It will tie feminine verbs with yad, the hand of Jehovah. That's yad, of course, is feminine, but won't do it with this. So they said, forget it. Drop this hey out of here. We're just going to have asa. Ya'as. That's it. No asa. It's going to be ya'as. That's it. Just keep it short. And Yehovah, the Lord will do, should do. Okay, it's a hortatory here. Lord should do. Imachem, with you. This is a masculine ending, but it works as for feminine as well. So it's not. When I first saw it, I kind of made a big deal of it, but no, it's just simply that one will work for feminines as well. Okay, Imachem, chesed. Chesed is, of course, loving kindness, mercy. Chesed. It's also, as you notice, segolate. You got a nice Miel accenting on the front of it. Okay, Chesed. Kasher, as was, as you. Asitem. Very same word here. You got asa, asitem, as you did. Okay, so this is again also it's a masculine plural, but you're still talking about the two girls here, as you have done. Ashitem, im hamatim, with the dead, ve imadi, and with me. Okay, and with me. This is a agglutination of with. Okay, there's a with in the previous verse, but not in here. Okay, imadi, with me. They stick an extra dalet in there, so it isn't just ami, my people. If you just left it ami, it would be my people, but imadi, that's with me. And okay, stick an extra dalet in there to have it with me. Yaten Yehovah lechem u mashena. This is hortatory yaten, to give, yatan, natan. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's going to be natan, yaten, Yehovah, lachem, to you. Again, it's a masculine word, but we can understand it's feminine. Give to you. U mashana, and this you will find, you, and this is a plural then, ending on the mashat, to find. Menuha, rest, okay, a good place, a good home, a good family, good connections with your neighbors, good connections with your society, and so forth. Menuha, and incidentally, for those who are into like theology, a good connection with your God. Okay, so menuha, with menuha, you'll find good rest. Isha, each woman. Beit, in the house. Isha, okay. So this is Isha, feminine singular, woman, and this is man with for her man. Okay, this is then Isha's husband, man, and Isha. That's a pronoun suffix down here. Mapik indicates it's pronounced and also is working as it's a suggestion or it's a indication of that this is a pronoun that's working tied on to this particular word here, Isha. Pronunciation is basically the same, although you're going to might try to double up the sheen here because of the dagesh, but it's basically the same pronunciation. Isha, Isha. Va tisak, and then she kissed. There's nothing on the end of this one, so this one's still singular. Okay, she. This one, we're still talking about Naomi here. Okay, tisak, lachen, to them. Okay. Now here, this one's the masculine ending. It's the feminine ending. Here, finally, grammatically, you're right. Okay, got it. Lachen, to them. The feminine ending here. This is also feminine ending over here, but here it is. Lachen, to them. Va tishana, and they rose, lifted up. They tishana, to lift up. Shana is this is what I call an asa verb. You can look it up for the root. You'll find nun shin aleph, and the very same word that's been used already in our passage or in the first chapter for the boys that were lifting up the gals. So tishana, okay, tishana, kolan, their voices. Again, feminine ending here, feminine ending. Ti bakena, and then they cried out. They were weeping. Okay, ti bakena, and then it's this also this is feminine plural ending for feminine plural ending right here. So same thing, and this one is also so anyway. But here it's done with nun kametz hey. Nun kametz hey. Here's just simply nun kametz. Didn't bother to stick. Could have stuck a hey on the end here, but here it's tishana, ti bakena, and they lifted up their voices and then they cried out. Beautiful passage here. Nice to get into it. Nice to see how it functions. Very much a scene with a lot of emotion, a lot of crying and kissing and so forth. Very deep emotions happening here as they reach a point which they have a very important step in their life that they have to undertake, and it's a great blessing for us to look at it and see how it applies and how we can also identify with those kind of emotions that these three women went through as they faced a very important step in their lives. So may God bless. May God also comfort you and give you strength and give you chesed and give you menuah. Those are good things that come from the Lord. And may God bless you and God strengthen you in this day. Until the next time.